Melee weapons might not be the most glamorous choice, but they're a good weapon to have when shit goes south. Let me tell you a thing or two about how to use them. In this video, I will be covering the spear, pike, and sword in that order, and I will not be covering the tech sword because outside of meshing it has no real uses. So let's get started with the spear. Now, I probably don't need to explain this to you, but the spear is an early game weapon. You're only using it till you can get something better. Either way though, the spear will cost 2 flint, 8 wood, and 12 fiber to craft with a weight of 3. However, because these are throwable, they actually stack up to 10. At 100% melee damage, the spear does 24 and swings at a rate of 1.5 per second, meaning you get 36 DPS out of it. For melee weapons, I will not be calculating damage per minute because unlike guns, you don't need to reload. The spear has 2 unique mechanics that other weapons don't. The first is that you can throw it, and this is a so-so ability. It can give you some extra range, but you are throwing your weapon away, so you do need to be careful with still having something to poke at enemies with. And the second, which is in my mind a huge downside, this thing doesn't have durability. It has a chance to break, which is 3.5 every time you hit something. And this is just annoying because sometimes you can have a spear break right after another, and sometimes you can have a spear last forever. And this just makes them annoying to use more than anything. So overall, this is a weapon that you can make very early on, but because of the recent rate increases, it's a weapon that you can sort of skip over, which is for the best because I'm tired of fucking making these things and having them break after I hit a parasaur 2 times. So instead of making these, just go straight to the bow. You can actually rely on that thing to do damage. Next we have the pike, which is similar to the spear, only not a piece of shit. It's going to cost you 10 metal, 10 wood, and 20 hide. The pike is the heaviest of the 3 options, coming in with 10 weight. This isn't great because you don't want to be lugging it around with other weapons, or if you're trying to be out farming. Anyway, the thing has 40 durability, with each swing taking 0.15 off, meaning in total you can get through 267 swings before it breaks on you. The pike is very similar to the spear in that it has the same animation, swing speed, and range. It does 50 damage at 1.5 swings per second, just like the spear, meaning it has 75 DPS. The pike fits a very peculiar niche in PvP. As people get better at the game and the devs continue to increase rates and make rate increasing events more common, like extra life, the early game gets skipped over much more often. You just don't need to make cloth armor if you can get flak within the first day. This of course wasn't the case with the game early on, as anyone who's played it will know, and the pike really shines in situations where someone's wearing cloth or hide. As these situations decrease because people are getting better, the pike's usefulness also massively decreases, unfortunately. In PvE, however, this weapon is fairly effective, and a case can be made for using it over the sword. Although it has lower damage, the higher range allows you to stay out of the attacks of certain creatures, and pairing it with just a simple suit of flak armor will allow you to take up things up to a decent level Carno. Anything above that is a little risky, but is doable, especially with higher melee damage or a better quality pike. The final melee weapon on this list, and let's not kid ourselves, the best one, the sword. The sword is the most expensive one on the list. 50 metal, 1 wood, and 15 hide. This is only slightly cheaper than a whole set of flak armor. The sword is half of the weight of a pike at 5 and has 70 durability, but each hit takes 0.3, meaning you only get 234 swings out of it. The sword has a significant damage upgrade over the pike at 90 damage per hit. It also swings at a quicker rate of 1.9 swings per second, bringing the total DPS to 171. This is however equaled out by the fact that the sword has significantly less range than the pike. It actually has less range than your fists. The combination of high damage but pathetic range makes it very bad against running targets. But what can stop a target from running? Well, bolas. The sword works amazingly with bolas, because if someone's immobilized, you can just unleash all that damage on them without having to worry about hitting them while they're running. Now for PvE, this weapon actually is incredibly effective,
Because how do all the dinos in this game damage you? Well, they go up and hit you. If they can hit you, you can hit them. The sword is much better than the pike, especially if you're trying to deal with small targets, because then you bola them and really they have no chance against the sword at that point. Now before I close out the video, I kind of want to elaborate further into the economics of running each weapon. Now the sword is more costly and it costs more metal to make. So I've decided, okay, I want to put this into comparison. I want to compare how much damage you can get out of each bar of metal that goes into crafting a weapon. Now for the pike, because it has better durability and costs less, I got 1,335 damage per bar of metal that you get. For the sword, this was only a measly 421.2 damage per metal bar. And this doesn't include the cost of losing it. If you enjoy this, please do like and subscribe. I know it's a little different from the normal gun guides, but I want to cover some more broader topics. Next, I'm probably going to work on whips and bolas. Until then, see you guys later.